All right, welcome to another chapter of the Fundamentals of Programming series. Okay, in this episode, we're going to be talking about the differences between the software and programs. So, the major reason why we've been talking about these differences is because of some people that might venture into programming for a little while now, or especially for students doing programming at different levels of their education, but might not really know the differences between software and program, or might not really know the connection or the what links programs and softwares together. Okay, because I've encountered a lot of students that they don't even know the reason why they are doing programming. Okay, so we tend to bring the the reason for doing programming and how it relates to software engineering. Okay, so if you've not subscribed to us, kindly do that and click on the notification bell to get notification of other videos that are going to be dropping, because this is just a brand new series and we just started the series, so we've not actually gotten into the main deal of this series. So if you want to follow us, if you want to know more about what we are doing in the fundamentals of programming, because we're going to talk about a lot of programming concepts and program syntaxes in different programming languages. Okay, so do well to subscribe and click on notification bell to get notification anytime we drop a new video in this series. Now, talking about the softwares and program, first of all, we'll see program. Though we've seen program in the previous videos or the previous tutorials on this series, but let's look at program once more. Okay, a program is a collective set of instructions written in a certain programming language that are meant to perform a specific task. Okay, now we've seen program as a set of instructions, just according to the previous videos, that when we want to instruct the computer in order for us to tell the computer to perform a specific task, we simply write a program in a certain language. Okay, even though we know that from the previous series, seen that the computer does not really understand some of the languages that we're writing the programs with, but we also saw language translators, that the language translator can translate the program written in any language into a machine equivalent, so that the machine will be able to interpret and execute the instruction that we're giving to it. Okay, so when we write this instruction in a certain programming language, what we're doing is we're simply writing programs. Okay, now talking about softwares, on the other hand, a software is simply a collection or a set of programs, procedures, or data that instruct the computer on what to do. Okay, and they are designed to perform a well defined function according to a basic goal. So if we're looking at a software, now software is just like a broader term, or a term that is used to describe when you bring two or more programs together and use different other tools. So when you're looking at software, software is simply the collection. When you talk about collection, when you say bringing together two or more programs. Okay, now in this case, a software does not only consider just the program. Okay, the program is just part of softwares. Okay, but when we talk about softwares, we'll have multiple programs. That means a set of programs. Now the programs works with other elements like the user interface and likes of it. As you can see, from the definition you have on your slide, the programs, procedures, and data. Okay, when all these things are brought together to instruct the computer on what to do, and specifically, you see, we said according to a basic goal. Okay, so when we talk about a program is meant for a specific task, while a software is meant for a defined or a predefined goal or a basic goal. Okay, now what I mean is this. Now when we talk about software, we have different types of softwares, and if you look at these different types of softwares, each one of them is developed to achieve a particular goal. Take for instance, if you pick maybe your Microsoft Word as a software, is categorized under document processing softwares, which are used to create documents. Okay, now if you pick something like your antivirus, for instance, like your Avast, your AVG and the rest, okay, they are meant to perform a specific goal. They are meant for a specific goal, which is to help detect malicious softwares within your computer system. Okay, so you can see from the example I gave, you see a software is actually meant for a particular goal. Okay, but a program is meant for a specific task. Okay, I'm going to show us some of these differences using Java programming. Okay, but before we open the Java program, let's just in a nutshell talk about the differences. Okay, now the main differences between softwares and program is that a software is a collection of many programs, like I said, used to perform tasks. Now look at the word there, tasks, not just a task now. Okay, whereas a program is a set of instructions that are written in a certain programming language to perform a specific task. You see the difference. A program perform a task, while software perform tasks. Okay, now another thing again you're going to look at is the software usually has user interface through which the user can interact with the software. Okay, now the user interface can be in command or graphical formats, because we have the command line interface, we have the graphical user interface. Okay, now apart from that, there are also interfaces between the software and the hardware, because most times the software serve as an intermediary between the user and the computer hardware. Okay, so the software stand between the user. In a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that the software stand between the user and the computer hardware. Okay, why programs do not usually have user interface. Program do not have user interface. Okay, so lastly, we'll say the software is ready. When we talk about software is ready, that means it has been developed, it has been compiled, it has been tested and debugged, while the program is simply being processed anytime, or being compiled anytime the user or the usually the programmer needs an output. Okay, so that is when we talk about the differences between softwares and program. These are the major things that comes to your mind. Now if we are looking in details, there are more and more things to talk about the differences between the program and software, but these are just some of the things that you can actually have in mind when you're talking about software. So to summarize the whole thing, or in a nutshell, to crown the whole thing we'll be talking about, when we talk about a program is simply a set of instructions that is meant to perform a specific task, while a software is a group of programs, okay, mixed with different procedures and data to achieve a common goal, to instruct the computer to do some functions in order for the user to achieve a common goal. Okay, so this is just the differences. Now let's head over to NetBeans. Okay, I'll just use NetBeans. Like I said before, we're going to use some programs to illustrate this. Okay, now if I open NetBeans is simply an IDE for basically for Java, but you can use it to develop in other languages. Okay, so now here, let me just start a new project. Okay, in Java. So let's just say I have a test project there before. Let me just say test uh 2. Okay, let me just say test 2. Okay, so now if I click on this finish to open an okay, so now I have my test 2 here. Now there's no package yet, so let me just create, let's call this test package. Okay, so now here I'm going to simply create a Java class here. Okay, now when I create a class here, I can simply say, okay, you don't need to worry about what I'm writing right now, but I'll just explain the difference between programs and software for you with it. Okay, now when we get into the main deal of the series, where we start talking about program syntaxes in different languages, we're going to look at what actually all these things that you're seeing now actually mean. Okay, so let me just pause the video and write some basic codes for you. Okay, so now you can see if I want to write a program, for instance, I'm in Java. Let's say I'm developing in Java right now. So if I want to write a program, let's say I want to write a program to simply greet a particular person that run this program. Okay, so I'll simply say, let's say system, or let me use J option pin. Okay, dot show message dialog. Okay, then let's say hello, good morning. Okay, so now this is just a simple program to greet hello, good morning. Okay, so if I run this program, for instance, if I run this program, it's simply just going to print a message for me, hello, good morning. Okay, so when I do something like this, I'm simply writing program, so I'm programming. Okay, now let's switch to software. If I'm developing a software, for instance, I created a new form here, just a blank form. Okay, so in this case now, I will not be talking only about the programs that I will be writing. Rather, I'll also try to design a certain user interface, because this time around I'm creating a software for a user to use. Okay, now let's take for instance, I'm creating a software that has a login interface. That means you must log in before you have access to it. That means I'm going to add some visual elements like a label to tell the user, okay, you're supposed to log in. So, and if you're logging in, you need, let's say, a username. Okay, then uh, let's say you also need a password. Okay, then I have to bring some test input. Sorry, test input for the user to fill. Okay, so when I'm doing this, you see that I'm actually designing a user interface. I've not even started writing the programs. Okay, now I'm just designing user interface that the user is going to see whenever it launch this software that I'm building. Okay, so this is just the basic idea for softwares and program. Okay, this is just the basic idea. Now when I'm designing software, I have to consider other things other than just considering the program. But when I'm writing program, I'll just write the program to do a specific something. Okay, so here now I can have two buttons here. Okay, now let's just say this button is for cancel. Okay, let's just say this button is for cancel. Let me change the text there, cancel, or let's just say exit the program, exit the application. Then let's say this one is to log in the application. Okay, so now if I have these two buttons here, now what I'm going to do is this. Now bringing in programming to softwares, now like we said, a program is simply a software consists of two or more programs. Okay, now here now we've talked about the interface, designing the interface. That means for all the part of our softwares, we're going to have one interface or the other that will be linked to each other to do some certain things, because every interface will have a reason why you built it. Like for instance, this is just a login interface, and the goal for this login interface is simply to authenticate the user so that we'll not have an unauthorized user using our application or our software. Okay, now the software that we're building can have other interface, let's say the dashboard, where it will have access to other parts of the system depending on the particular software you're trying to build. Okay, now in terms of the program, now like this exit button, now for us to make this exit, because if I run this program, for instance, if let's say I run this program, run file, okay, you find out that this program will launch a user interface for me, but none of this will be working unless I write some specific program code into it. Okay, so for me to make this work now, I'll have to write programs. Okay, so that is just what the program will do. So for you to learn program, or for you to be programming is just like I said in the previous video, that programming is just like a prerequisite to software engineering. So before you develop software, before you learn how to build softwares, you must first of all write programs. Okay, so that is just the difference in a nutshell. So if you still have some doubt, if you still have some questions, you can simply put those questions on the comment section, and would attend to them. I would discuss about those questions or issues that you might have. Okay, so thank you for watching. Okay, see you in the next video.